the mystery sound of the Carburetor.
That's the whoopee cushion.
We're alive and Mexican stuff's already in here. Yes, this is
Wow.
a go. It's real. Chongo 68. What's going on, Chongo? We just ran over to the store. And we're going to try the Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. This was only about $40.
Quite the deal.
Crazy. I got this on a water. It was like $6. I guess those are the only two guys in there, Mexican Spec and Chongo.
Yeah, that's it.
Because we get to warn everybody else out.
Yes.
Do I agree with the what?
Well, we're a minute early too, so.
Do I agree with the she? There's a heart behind it.
I don't know.
I can't open this.
Do we agree with the shirt, Tony?
Oh yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who else is popping in? Open
Bill McKeisker, what's happening? Mike N. Look, this is challenging all of my abilities.
Right, you need to go get the toolbox. Mike N. Dickie Farley, Fubar, Brad Barr, Nick McCree, Kelsey Cunningham, Code Improvements.
So we had a week off last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're all back to normal now.
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whatever, like Kathy had what's going around, I got it like the next day.
Everybody's got it. I've been fighting it off. I haven't gotten it yet.
I'm over it. So.
Okay.
But it was, the Cooties 12.0, right before the election. It's weird.
Okay, that's not terrible.
No?
No. The Dunkin' iced coffee.
In mocha. Imagine a coffee-flavored coffee.
Chocolate flavored coffee. Fubar. Put it the link to Dr. Art's merch. Oh, grab the shirt. It's over there.
Yeah.
Moped Man, what's happening? So
picks up on the mic, the whoopee chair. Let's see.
So Dr. Art actually has real merch, comes hermetically sealed in a bag for your safety and protection. Very nice. Very nice. And you can get that at the link that Fubar just posted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a Dr. Art. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they come in multiple colors, and this is pre-production. The regular production ones, the Big Richard here is the font's bigger. It's bigger.
What the hell does that smell like?
Oh, that's the caustic chemicals it cost me to get it expressed over here.
Oh, okay.
You gotta probably run some water over it before you put it on your body.
Wash this before you put it on your body. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Iceman 2K10. Hello, everyone. Rebel Angel Killer in the house. Mike N. I have Hurricane Francine is about to pass over me. Well, good luck in Louisiana there, sir.
Yeah, we're going to get it this week. This is killing all of our plans for the weekend. But
yeah, it's a 30-minute lunch break from here. Mopar Manton thing. Joke K. It's Grandpa Art. Yeah, that was pretty cool because she's 4 days old and, I have giant mitts and the baby's like 2 hands big.
Right.
A little bit smaller than her mother was, but everything's still good.
Joe K. Tony drinking packaged bottled coffee. Well, I mean, I ran into the Dollar Tree to grab some water real quick and like, I don't know, that was just looking at me and I was like, why don't I try it? It's one of the great things about being an American. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to pay $6 for a plastic bottle of
Yes,
coffee.
we have that privilege.
Yes. Can't just do it anywhere.
A whole village in Bangistan could eat for a month on that.
Iceman 2K10. Dr.
Without going after your pets.
Right. Oh, I noticed that John's little holding pond, there's no geese. They must have traveled through here on the way to Ohio.
Yes.
All the geese are gone out of John's holding pen. Water retention pond. So, Dr. So you're up on the JTEX. Any plans to go to a Magnum and Big Richard? No, not yet. If Big Richard, once he's gone, if he gets anything, it'll be a 3rd gen Hemi with a turbo. But that's like later. Yeah, he still needs to have an owner to get his head out of his ass and finish him up and put his doors on and things like that.
Braden Mondin, Jeep 4.0 oil pressure goes to 0 at operating temperature at idle. Are you sure it's not the gauge or something unit? Because the lifters will start to tick under 7. The lifters will start to collapse. So if you're not getting a lifter noise and you're seeing oil pressure that low, it's probably not oil pressure related. It could be wrong, but
yeah. Check the gauge. Check the gauge. Yeah. Put a mechanical gauge on it and see what happens.
Donnie Brasco, do you watch Graveyard Cars? Like it? Do you watch Graveyard Cars?
I used to for the first like a couple seasons when it was interesting.
Okay.
Then it was just more of the same thing, and it just became a Discovery Channel drama, same thing every episode after episode, the same crap in drama.
I can't say anything bad about it. I shouldn't say anything bad about it. My friend Tony D'Agostino is like a regular reoccurring character on that show. It's hard to watch. They do amazing work. They do. I can't take anything away from the quality of their work. It's phenomenal, right? But man, I can't watch it. It's hard to watch. It's unwatchable. You can't watch it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the first couple seasons were, to me, it was interesting. To you, it would have been boring because it's a lot of that trivia and stuff like that.
But I like that. I like it, even though I know most of it. Actually, that's not true.
Okay.
Because I'm not one of those codes guys.
And he's like,
I'm pre.
Yeah, because he's like, no, this crown on this bolt is different than this year. I mean,
well, see, that I know. All that stuff I know. Right. But I do pick up stuff in it, and I like going over things, being reminded of stuff that I may have forgotten about. So yeah, I like that aspect of the show, but I can't watch it. It's just horrible.
Yeah, it's too much of a television show instead of a car show.
Yeah. Exactly. Mopar Maniac just fired up a 72 Duster after sitting for 10 years. Runs like a champ. Congratulations.
Was that yours?
No. Welcome back to the world of the living, 72 Duster. Mexican Spec just fired up a 63 Savoy last night. Sitting for 7 months, no drama. See, they're all coming back to life.
Yeah.
Olive, how are you, Olive?
Let me turn this just a second so I can see.
Yeah.
I can see a little better. Oh, okay.
Well, that was good. Before they charge for this, they should get free refills.
Yeah. Where does he say? He said, Uncle Chunny, the Jeep is ticking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 0 oil pressure idle is probably a stuck bypass in the pump. So if you give it gas and the oil pressure gauge kind of like jumps up, then it's probably the bypass in the pump not closing completely. Either way, you're going into the motor. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, you get to learn how to rebuild a 4-liter.
Let's see. Someone needs to fix that hole. What hole?
Okay.
Thumper put a 5-speed in his goat. He simply adores 72 miles an hour at 1,900 RPM.
Yeah.
I have a 4-speed overdrive for my 72 Roadrunner, and yeah, it's the same thing. 70 miles an hour, and it's just idling. Let's see. What was great? Mike N. What was great, Mike? Share it with the rest of us.
He found something funny in the chat. Yeah.
Scoop says, "Ha, the hole up there."
How the hole? Wow, we're either missing something or we're really missing something.
I don't know.
Maybe it's the hole in my head he's talking about.
What hole did you guys look around? We don't know what hole he was talking about.
Yeah, we're not. You're just in here for 2 hours a week, so it's like something new might happen. We don't pay attention.
Iceman, where do you stand on body swapping? Does it cease to be the big time Hemi car if the radiator support, etc., has been replaced?
Yeah. Is it still a Hemi car? Yeah, it's a car with a Hemi.
Yeah.
Was it born that way? Well, no, you're going to know that it was completely rebuilt, right? And for that fact, if you take a car completely apart down to the sheet metal and acid dip it, and completely all new parts and everything,
If it has,
it's not the original car anyway.
right. If it has everything that it was born with, is that better?
It's fine, but as soon as you change, it doesn't. And for me, it doesn't have to be the core sport. You put new floor pans in it, that's a different car.
Right.
So it wasn't how it was born.
Mendito amplification. Greetings from Dyker Heights, Brooklyn. I am looking over at Staten Island from the proper side of the bridge. I haven't been there in 10 years, man. All too soon. All too soon. Dean Stevenson, sympathy pain. You still feeling Kathy's ultra gal flu? She was really wiped out, man. I've managed to fight it. You succumbed.
Yeah. I got smacked by it. Eric is getting smacked by it right now.
Yeah, it's the Rona part too, I guess.
Yeah, it's the pre-election Rona.
Yes.
Come on. Send in your ballots now. Don't bother going in public.
Mike Nadek, do you still have the Hemi Roadrunner you had in Staten Island? No, that's been gone for long time. Mendetto, you don't want to come back? No, I don't want to come back. I escaped. I got out of there just in the nick of time. Judge Fett, I watched your video on the Hemi 6 and was just wondering how similar it is to the Jeep 4.0. Very similar, but they're twin sons of different mothers, because the Jeep motor is strictly AMC with no Chrysler roots whatsoever. But the engines are remarkably similar in a lot of ways.
You're being defended in the chat. Somebody asked about the Slant 6 Miata. Someone said, we don't talk about the Slant 6 Miata here.
I parted it out. It's been gone for years. Escape from New York is a documentary. So is Idiocracy.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Nadek. Oh, Mike Nadek. Yes, I remember you. How are you doing, brother? He used to race a Chrysler. It was yellow with a black top, right? You chopped the top on it. It was called what is it inside? A Wild Child? Let's see if he comes back. Yeah,
Okay.
Very cool car. Very cool car. Yeah, I remember that. I know who you are,
What
man.
kind of car was it that he chopped?
It was a Chrysler. It was like he'll say it was like a 71 Chrysler Newport or
Tuna Boat Newport and
yeah, Wild Child.
Okay.
Yeah, that thing was great. And then weren't you building a Gremlin also? This is a long time ago, bro. I haven't seen you in 40 years. Look at the UK comment redacted.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Okay. Thumper is asking, what is the best engine design ever and why is it a Pontiac? You know, I know you love those things and they're good, but come on. No, you know that, right?
The best engine or the best car engine? Because then we open up a whole new.
Well, even car engine. I mean, I don't hate on Pontiacs.
No, not at all.
But yeah, no.
Rich Biwa and Uncle Tony wants to know that referenced you in a Substack article. I appreciate your time communicating with us. Thanks.
Well, no, you're very welcome. What was the topic, Rich B. Warren? Thumper saying for blown fuel, the Hemi wins. Dude, how do you compare? Seriously, now I know you're a Pontiac lover, right? But how do you compare the Pontiac to a big block Chevy? I mean, literally, the foundational engine of like every normally aspirated performance deal out there on Earth today, right? The foundation of it is a big block Chevy. How can you compare? I know you love the things. Mike Natick, last time I saw you, you were a driver for Bobby Lagana. No, I used to tune for Bobby Lagana. I crewed and I tuned for Bobby, but I never drove for him. Let's see. Dean Stevenson says that I am the British Leyland whirlpool or plug hole of death and doom for comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Shoehorn Jackson, on an older engine, can lifter problems be caused by today's oil? No.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking, oh, wait, he's talking about the lack of zinc in today's oil.
But if it's an older motor and it's been broken in and everything's worn together.
Right. What he's saying is exactly right. And I did a whole video on that. And based on the Jeep 4 liters, which I have numerous of, those are flat top cams. And nobody uses a zinc additive on those. They run them through regular oil change places and they dump whatever solid oil or whatever shit that they've got in the tanks into those engines. And the lifters, they never have a lifter problem. So, yeah, the zinc is really important for the break-in period in the first maybe a couple thousand miles. And then after that, I don't think it's really necessary. Mopar Maniac, what's the status on the 392 Hemi? Out of production for about 66 years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich B, on the importance of conversation and its evolved derivatives. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for mentioning it.
There we go.
Let's see. 72 Z28. How could you forget about Tech Wednesday? My God. Rich B1, thank you for doing the live streams. Thank you for watching and participating.
Mm-hmm.
72 Z20 has been busy fixing up his XJ. Excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent. Dr. Art just drove Mission Improbable just now. So how is it running?
Very nice.
Very nice, right?
Very, very nice. Yeah. All the little dead spots are gone.
Can you feel the difference with that cold air?
Yeah, with the cold air and the new tank and pump and it's the RPMs are back. It's fantastic. Time to change the battery in the smoke detector. They can hear that too.
Zero is in the house, and he's putting up the link to Dr. Art's channel.
Nice, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Close that door. Jeff, have you tried running Mission Improbable on E85? No. I used to run my 4.0 Wrangler on it. Mileage went down, but it ran like a scolded dog. I have not. Let's get it running right on gasoline first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, because we don't have the E85 in this area at every pump. I mean, it's around here and there sporadically, but for us to run it and test with it, and for it to be a level playing field, it's not going to happen.
Charlton Zimmerman, how come you never talk of dual carbs and intake manifolds? I have done many videos on dual carbs and intake manifolds.
Do you have?
I have
2 of them sitting out here.
Yeah, 2 of them. There's one here and there's one at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 dual quad cars. One here and one at the house.
And the propane one that had duals on it for you had.
Yeah. This.
Mopar dead. You see this?
I hear a Yankee Stadium for the game, but watching this live from the upper deck. Priorities. I took the train into the city to avoid those speed cameras on lousy parking.
Nice. Turn us around and put us on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, I want to be on the Jumbotron.
That'd be fantastic. We'll send you, I don't know, cookies or something if you can get that done.
Iceman, but what about traction and Mission Improbable? It's coming.
Yeah.
Relax, one step at a time. Improvements are improvements, regardless. You know, when we actually do get two tigers to bite, it's going to be the cherry on top.
Right. Xena here. Dodge Dart with a slant 6 and a 3-speed 3 on the tree. What's the secret to get it to go into reverse?
It won't go into reverse. You have it does all of the forward gears, but it won't go into reverse.
Is that just a bushing problem?
Well, you got the first reverse lever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a one bushing.
Because you got 2-3 bushings in there by the time it all gets down to the.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, can you manually, if you climb under there, right? Can you manually put it into reverse?
Yeah, it's either bushing or that 1-2 leverage is loose or that reverse first, something. Linkage.
Rich is saying, I love the concept of Mission Improbable. I heard how folks used to tune their daily drivers back in the day, business by day, night, fun by night. It's a total throwback. And I'm calling out people with it. I sent one today. I'm not going to say who it is, but he has a really fast car. So I'm calling him out, and I'm not getting any response from him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. The Tyrant Gamer, thank you for the super chat. Do you have any tricks for a stuck distributor? I've tried PB and freeze off and a torch and rubber mallet, and it still won't turn. Forge. Oh yeah, I know. Been there, done it. Got the T-shirt with that.
The best thing I used, I take the cap and all the stuff off, and the top of the distributor, I put a chain wrench on it.
Okay.
And then, because then you can get leverage without, impacting, and you just sit there and spray and torch and spray and torch and spray and torch, and then it'll go. And
only Fords did that. Why are Fords?
They had something between the electrolysis of that pot metal distributor and that steel intake and some kind of majestic goo O-ring. It became a permanent bond. And it done bunches of them. But yeah, just a big long torque granite, because if you go, you're gonna snap it.
Right. You
just gotta sit there and
work it.
Yeah, put the television on in your shop. Do this: spray, torch, spray, torch. Or if you try, what Ford is it? Because if it's like a,
it's a Windsor. It's always a Windsor.
It's tumble the intake.
Oh yeah, you can do it too. Yeah, take off the intake.
Yeah, if you take the,
the distributor's just gonna be stuck in there.
It's not stuck. It's stuck to the intake.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, if you're putting a 4-barrel on it and you're just doing a swap, just unbolt the intake and pry up the intake, and the distributor will come out with the intake, and you can smack the distributor from the bottom, it'll pop out.
Nicholas Agnew, that Jeep is probably faster than a 240 Miata. Don't ETs don't tell the whole story. I'm telling you right now that ETs don't tell the whole story. That thing is much quicker than the numbers indicate. We just haven't gotten the numbers to match its performance yet. Would you say that's about accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we don't,
the seat of the pants on that Jeep, let's say middle of first gear and then all the way through second and all the way through third, the seat of the pants is something.
It's woo!
Yeah, it's indescribable how hard that thing runs. You don't get the whole picture by what's popping up on the time slips yet, but you will.
Mhm.
Dean Stevens was saying the TF5 the door is spark. It's just a sacrificial anode for the Windsor. Very good. Yes.
Yep. Jack, Art, I bought an Aces LS standalone EFI, and I'm having a hard time to get the idle down in it at 1500 before I put an air cleaner on a IAT sensor. Ran normal. Oh yeah, it's in a 08 Jeep Wrangler. With those Aces and with those the 5-techs and all those with those, go back. Make sure you set all your parameters right, engine type and displacement and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a procedure for setting the idle screw. And it's a percentage of TPS blank at blank, and there's a procedure for it, and you will get the idle down. It's kind of the same thing that did for Kiwi on that Imperial. I haven't seen an Aces, but they're kind of the same. But I would interesting to see a little bit more on that. Send me an email or send me a quick video on it, and then we'll help you work out through it. Just need a little bit more info.
Wheelie King is saying, why straight 6? They don't have the sound, but they sure have the go. If you ask me, that thing sounds magical. I love the way that thing sounds.
Seems like they have a nice sound to it.
Rich, theoretical question. Does an undersquare engine make for a good race engine? If so, which applications? Well, the biggest inch, the biggest cubic inch engines out there are under square, right?
Right. Because you can't have 600 cubic inches and if 6 inches of stroke, yeah.
Let's see. Oops. I remember that from the last time.
Yeah.
Okay. So Uncle Tony, a new oil pump isn't going to fix anything. There's a clogged passage in the engine. I don't fully understand how the system works. Oh, you're talking about the 4-liter Jeep motor? I mean, just Google oil passage through 4-liter Jeep, and you'll see the oil flow diagram, and it'll show you where it all goes to.
I don't know. It's clogged hose, but okay.
Russ Peter Derelicts. Tony, what was it like in Top Fuel? The process of the teams figuring out using the huge wrinkle wall slick as a transmission based on the tire squat and growth at high speed. Well, squat doesn't change the rollout of it. The squat doesn't change the rollout. It just puts more surface area on the track. And then centrifugal force takes care of the rest. And it's not really figured as it's kind of just taken for granted because slicks have had that type of slick is deliberately built for centrifugal growth. And it's been like that since the 60s. That's when they started engineering slicks that way. So it's not like it's really calculated into anything. It's just a given that the slick grows at the top end. Now, when I was doing Top Fuel, we were limited to a 320 gear. So it didn't make any difference it's just a set thing. We were limited to the tire. There was only one tire we could use, and there was only a 320 gear that we could use. So there was no figuring anything out. It was just working with the clutch to get the car on.
Because everybody had the same.
Yeah, everybody had the same setup.
Mm. Here's a question for you. Hey, Uncle Tony and Dr. Art, you have to change the K member on a 71 satellite to put in a 400?
No, not if it was a V8. If it was a slant 6, yes. Excuse me. If it was a Hemi, probably not, right? Yes, but if it was any V8 other than that, the 426 Hemi, yes, or the 318 and 400, 440, it'll take the same K-frame. Let's see.
Jimmy, there's something you just talked about recently. I don't understand how the exhaust flapper on a Mopar passenger side, the exhaust manifold works. Does it create back pressure?
It's not just Mopars. They all had it.
Chevy's had them for everybody had them.
Everybody had it. And all it does is it blocks off the exhaust going out that side. Right now it's spring pressure. So if you like wing the throttle, the force of the exhaust will push it open. But if you're sitting there idling, it's closed, and what it's doing is it's forcing the exhaust gas to travel under the carburetor. That exhaust crossover passage that's under, the stove that's under the carburetor. Well, it's forcing the exhaust gas to go that way. Because if you didn't block it from one side, then the heat would never actually it would just go back and forth, right? So if you block one side, it makes it flow across, and it heats that much faster. And then as the manifold warms up, the spring relaxes and the flapper opens all the way. But that wasn't just Mopars, that was all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, later Chevy.
Let's see. King Shiloh, what should I set my total timing for a 305 for power? So many variables. It's probably going to make maximum power right in the range of 34 degrees total.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Mexican spec, height. Oh, we're talking about the straight eight, because somebody asked, besides shield length, why don't they make straight eights anymore?
They don't fit.
Yes.
Cars aren't gigantic Kaisers and things like that anymore, so.
VC Valen, New Zealand, more slant 6 stuff. It's coming. More slant 6 stuff is coming, but I do have other things I got to do first.
Mopar Maniac, what's the best way to adjust the steering column linkage for a 904 transmission? Mine isn't fully going into park.
So the different years have adjustment points in different places. All you want to do is you want to find your adjustment point, wherever the adjustment point in that linkage is. You just want to disconnect the linkage from the shift lever on the transmission. Put the transmission all the way in park, which is pulling the lever all the way back. So all the way back is going to be park. Make sure your linkage, the shifter is in park, and then make your adjustments so that it just all fits together there. Does that make any sense?
No, that's, yeah.
Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Caesar, just out of curiosity, did either of you get to race the factory drag car Plymouth Fury? I've never even heard of it.
No.
No.
If you got one, we'll try it.
No. Unless you're talking about like the 64 cars with the 2% wheelbase. Zach Stoddard, will a camshaft with high duration cause rich idle extras? 274 degrees, 274 degree duration on mine, and it's bad rich at idle. Already filed carb, replaced power valve, Transition slots aren't exposed either. Idle's great. So it's just fat.
Is it fat or is it just getting a lot of back and forth? So it's black in the carburetor from the
I don't know.
from the reversion.
So if you, Zach, if you let it sit and idle for, let's say, 10 minutes, what do the plugs look like? Like, is it rich enough that it's fouling the plugs?
Or it just smells rich, or
What kind of, okay, it's power valve, so it's a Holly. How are your idle air bleeds? Or do you have an air bleed that's clogged or blocked or undersized? Because that'll do it, right? Okay, in the idle circuit starts at the float bowl, and then it goes up into the metering block, right? And then it goes back down to where you make your adjustments from. And then in the top there are 4 bleed passages, right? 2 of them are idle bleed and 2 of them are for the mains. So it's possible that one of the idle air restrictor or the idle air bleeds is restricted, or
got a bug in it, which happens in a lot of
check that
when you're running your boats with no air cleaners, stuff like that. Or you may just need to put a bigger idle air bleed in it.
Yes. Don't try to drill it. You'll end up making a mess.
Yeah, you'll just put shavings in your engine and carburetor. No, just get the cool little tool and get the next size jet up and see what happens.
Old McDonald's has a car. When putting in a big block in an A-body Mopar, which fits headers best, a B or RB? Oh, no comparison. The B motor.
Yeah. The RB, the really big one. Yeah,
You can get away with undercar headers with a B motor and with an RB. I know it doesn't seem like that much of a difference, but trust me, it's that tight. You're almost always better off with fender wells.
When you go to the 440, you need the fender wells. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need it. You can still sneak them under the car, but
then it's you're denting and put a 383 in it and do some magic to the 383 and you'll be happy.
It's funny, but in a lot of ways, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually easier to do work on a B motor, let's say 383 in a Dart, than it is a small block. And like I said, I know it sounds counterintuitive because the big block's always so much, right? But it's not. It's like, for instance, like if you got to pull the motor, it's easier to get behind the engine and get like the transmission bolts. It's easier to swap plugs on them. Well, no, let's scratch that part. Overall, in general, the big block, the B motor in an A body is friendlier to work with than a small block. King Shiloh, how big of a needle and seat do you need for a blow-through carb setup, Dr. Art?
Well, it's not how big of a needle to seat. It's basically you need a non-crushable float, okay, and then you need a fuel pressure regulator, which turns up the fuel pressure based on boost. It's a boost reference fuel pressure regulator, and that'll keep. You're running at 6 pounds normally, okay, so you're just for easy math, you're putting 2 pounds of boost on top of the carburetor. Well, you need to have now 8 pounds of fuel pressure for everything to break equally.
Okay.
So as long as you have fuel pressure regulator.
But what about the needle and seat? Is this specifically about
factory needle and seat?
Factory needle and seat.
Factory needle and seat's fine. Yeah, I built many with just regular Holley needle and seats in them, and the non-crushable floats. That's block your power valve and jet the backs real high, and you got a blow through carb for cheap. Or you can block off that vacuum check valve on the bottom of the carb, whatever you want. Either way works.
Let's see.
The darn commercial cut you off in the middle of the commercial. Okay.
Just hit the back button.
Yeah, just hit the back button. Yeah, it's basically a fuel pressure reference, fuel pressure regulator, boost reference pressure regulator, and a non-crushable.
He's saying perfect. I've got the nitro fill forks.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you're good. You got a fuel. Yeah, you got a good regulator. That's all you need. And either
And everything's got to be boost referenced.
yeah, so you can either one epoxy off the check valve in the bottom that runs that power valve for the vacuum, or just put a
Block off
plate, and then what you do is you run kind of a normalish size jet in the front, and you run an oversized one in the back because you're going to be on the gas in boost, right? You're not going to be tooling along in boost. Doesn't really work that way because you can set your gates, but as soon as you hammer on it, your boost comes up. You're going to have all 4 barrels open. That's where you make up for your fuel.
But I would say for even non-boosted drivability, if you're going to remove the check valve, if you're going to block it off, I'd still go 4 to 6 sizes up on that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I do just a valve lash on a 318 with stock rockers. You get jumped.
You don't.
If you shave the heads, you need to shim them, but that's about it. They're non-adjustable.
Mancini Racing still rocker shaft shims, by the way, in case you need to do that. Let's see. Let's just stare at it.
Okay.
Let's just stare.
Let's just stare and see how long we can keep people interested. I mean, you already only got 70 thumbs.
Yeah, because they don't like us. They're like, who are these geezers? What are they babbling about?
What are they doing? Is this a Mountain Dew commercial? No, it's not.
I'm going back to TikTok.
I need my 3-second endorphin pump. Come on.
Russ Peters, I saw a video of someone installed an intake blow-off valve on a draw-through carb turbo setup. Things did not end well. I'm trying to picture that now.
They got a draw through, and then they put the blow-off valve underneath.
Oh, okay.
But it's shooting out fuel at that point.
Right.
It's not going to end well. No.
Mexican spec, are we on for 4 hours tonight?
No. You could stay on. We can leave the channel open, and it could be the Mexican spec
just
show with the background. Yeah.
Right. Mark Sauvé is in the house. What's happening, brother? Greg Avia, ever play with water meth or water methanol injection? I have that.
Sparingly, people have used it and tried it and stuff. It was more popular with early boosted engines when the technology wasn't quite computerized and all figured out and stuff like that, just to keep the pistons intact from melting down. It's got its place, but there's other ways to do it I think are better.
Burned out garage. Tony, would extended shackles hurt my car on the drag strip? Yes. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that the shackle is an active part of the spring, and it's the leverage that the spring works against. You want to limit as much movement at the shackle as possible. That's why people go to sliders on the back. So you eliminate the shackle altogether and just the slider, so that as the spring goes through its movements, the back of it can just move back and forth freely. The longer the shackle, the more leverage you're giving the spring, and the less arch it'll maintain, the less control you're going to have over it. So yes, absolutely.
It's just going to splay out.
Yeah. That's why if you ever notice, like people so back in the day, everyone would jack up their cars. So then in the back, so they would buy these giant shackle kits.
Yeah.
Right. And then jack the car up and extend it like 5 or 6 inches, and then put it on the ground, and the car was only a half inch higher in the back. because they took all the arch out of the spring.
Well, and on the Mopar too, because you had 3/4 of the spring behind the
Yeah.
wheel. It was just more on everything else. And then the green bean.
Thank you for the super chat, Green Bean. Do you have an idea on the oddest or weirdest engine you played with? Some industrial engine or some early bike fuel injection?
I mean, the oldest was probably some flatheads for me. But the weirdest. The weirdest, I worked on some weird ass diesels with my father. So that's
that's a tough question. Like, I worked on stuff when I was a kid, like because it was like you had French cars, you had Swedish cars, and like, but like before everything kind of became like globally standardized, so a lot of stuff was like still freak show. But I don't really remember any of it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Renault Alliances and the cars and the.
Well, I mean, even that stuff was kind of standardized. But if you go back like before then, like you had like the Hondas with the
CVCC, yeah.
Well, the CVCC was a good engine.
Yeah.
But no, even before that, they had the 600cc 2-cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
Which was the one that had everything? It wasn't not the Subaru. There was another setup like the Subaru, but it was French, where it had everything in front of the front axle. See, this stuff is so obscure. I can picture it in the dark recesses of my distant youth memories, but I don't remember any of the specifics. Tire store I worked at, a customer came with a 3-cylinder 2-stroke Saab. Yeah! See, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, there was stuff like that, but I don't remember any of the details from it. The Renault car, the one with the 3 lug nuts. I hated that. I was like, why 3? Why? You couldn't have put just one more on there so it's just not a total freak show. And that was back in the day when everything had 5.
Those cars were fantastic. I delivered pizzas in those cars. The guy who owned the pizza shop, he bought like 3 of these things and straight piped them and painted them red with a big sign on top. And we would buzz those things around town and get chased by cops and go through little alleys where cop cars wouldn't fit and stuff like that. They were fantastic.
Mopar Maniac is putting a blown 392 Hemi in his jet boat.
Nice.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It'll sound really good.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Fett, do you think a heavily built 4.0 can be comparable to a Toyota 2JZ? No. It's the Hemi versus the Wedge. It's cross flow versus,
back and forth.
Yeah.
Same side.
Reverse flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Non-axial flow head. Yeah.
King Silo, thoughts on the Honda N900 with a 2-cylinder? Well, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Mark Survey thought it was funny that we used the car. The chicken place in the 90s around here bought a bunch of Samaras to deliver chicken. They got rid of them in 6 months. Yeah. Okay, here we go, Chris. A little more serious question. Dr. Tony and I are just wondering, what are the typical systems of a failing ignition condenser? Is it obvious, or can you get thrown off the correct path easily? If the points are still okay, will it run?
Depends how bad the condenser is. When the condenser really takes a shit, no, it won't run, it won't start, it won't do anything.
It'll blow flames through the car.
It'll blow flames.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Okay, if you're running a point style ignition system, okay, and you have a you have a very erratic misfire, right? It's like, okay, so let's say you're getting a miss, but you're getting a miss because the points are worn, the rubbing block is worn, and the points are just barely opening. It'll stumble, but it'll be kind of a smooth stumble. But when a condenser goes bad, it's violent and erratic. You know what I mean? So you'll give it gas and it'll go, and right, almost always you go right to the condenser. The problem is almost always the freaking condenser. Now, what I have found in recent years, so now back when points and condensers were everywhere, and that's, everything had points and condensers, right? Changing the condenser was always a pain in the ass because it's under the cap. It's a little tiny screw, and you got to work in there and everything.
You know, 5/16 wrench, and you
Right.
get the nut off it. Yeah.
So back in the day, I just always, whenever they changed the condenser, I always went that way, right? Now, I got away from cars entirely for years, right? I just did the nitro thing and I did the motorcycle thing. And only about 15 years ago, I got back into cars again. And when I started screwing around with point ignitions, I was like, I am not going to screw. I just started attaching the condenser to the negative side of the coil externally. And it functions perfectly. So when you do have a problem with a condenser, it's a minute to change rather than fumbling around on the side of the road trying to get the little screw and everything else.
It's right on top of the coil.
Yeah, just leave the condenser out of the distributor altogether and just attach it to the negative side of the coil. It'll do exactly the same job. It's a shock absorber for the points, is all a condenser actually is. So, but yeah, it'll give you a very erratic.
Like shit doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah,
when you can't figure it out, it's a mist that you just can't figure out.
Put a condenser. Yeah.
Oh, look, we're almost at 100 likes.
Oh, nice.
Almost.
I mean, we're almost losers at 100. Yeah.
Rico Diaz. Why does my truck make a loud, like a fan blowing loudly when I smash the gas? 95 F-150 51. Okay. I would say that your clutch fan is probably locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the fan.
Yeah, it is the fan.
When you stomp on it and it's the little internals in it just lock and go engine speed. Yeah, it's going to sound like a jet.
Yep. Joe K, why did they keep the 80s Monty handicapped against the Buick turbo cars and not give it the TPI 350? Marketing decisions. I have no idea.
Yeah.
They should have.
Yeah, the TPI 350 wouldn't help it anyway.
What, the Monty?
Yeah.
Oh, God, are you kidding me?
It would have helped.
It would have helped a lot. It would have put it right there on par with the Grand Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
With TPI cars, I was running in the 13s with Camaros and anything that they put a 350, not the Trans Am, but several 350 TPI cars, Vets and Camaros, I put in the 13s, like easily. So much easier than the turbo car.
Why not the Trans Ams?
I don't know. I think it was the air intake. I think it was when they had the air intake configured because they had a lower hood line.
Yeah.
On the Trans Am. I think that affected air intake.
It was just struggling for air.
I was never able to get a Trans Am into the 13s. I mean, I don't remember the exact times, but like the Trans Am would be like a 1420, 1430 car, and the equivalent IROC would be like a 1390, 1385 car. Yeah.
Okay.
Todd is saying, I'm starting to hear a muffled rattling in higher RPM, light load situations on my 318 Barracuda. Examples are first starting cold and high RPM, but pulling off the throttle. What causes that? Excessive main bearing wear. Yes. Well, it could be rod bearings too, but it's downstairs, bro. It's time to drop that pan.
Let's see what's inside.
Yep. Vincenzo Pentagalli. Nice Irish name. Is it rare for factory engines to have forged cranks versus cast? In the old days, forged crank was the norm. Cast cranks didn't really start to become popular until like the very late 60s, the early 70s. But you go back to like the 50s and the early 60s, they were all forged.
Everything was forged.
Everything was forged. Todd is saying that's what I was afraid of. Thanks. Yeah, bro, I'm so sorry. But it is what it is.
Right. Yeah.
I got one that's making rattles right now. I gotta do something with.
Weird rattles.
No, not even that one. I'm talking about the red Jeep.
Oh, the red Jeep rattling.
It's time for I'm gonna do an in-car rebuild.
Oh, okay.
Russ Peters, was the Mallory Unilight the first successful aftermarket electronic ignition?
That's a good question.
Successful functioning or successful marketing? I'm going mentally. I'm going back to that era.
Yeah, you're trying to think to that.
Yes, I'm going to say yeah. It may not have been the first successful one, but it was definitely the most popular one.
Right.
They did a good job marketing it. And they work. They work. Franz H., if you could make a Mopar El Camino, not Rampage, what muscle car platform would you use? I started building one. I'm going to say it was about 12 years ago, 15 years ago, placed someplace in the range called the Bel Camino. I had a 68 Belvedere 4-door, and I cut the roof at the back of the front seat, and I welded the doors closed, and I was forming a bed, and then where like a back window would come in. When I ended up changing plans as far as shops go, and I didn't have the space for the car, so I never finished it. And I passed it off to somebody else, and I have no idea what happened to it, or if it ever got finished, or if it got scrapped. I don't know. But I actually did start building
a Bel Camino.
Bel Camino. Kaiska, thank you for the super chat. What is the speed drag height rule of thumb when a tall cowl is no longer in favor over a conventional ram air scoop? All right. Well, that's going to take some thought here. What is the speed drag height rule of thumb when a tall cowl is no longer in favor? Bill, that's going to have to do with the way the front of the car is pushing.
Yeah, the whole frontal area.
Yeah. I don't think there's one formula for that. I don't think there's a singular formula for that. I know this is going to sound like a cop-out, right? But I would study what the successful, faster car is using the body style that you're dealing with. I would just go with whatever, because they've gone through the testing. They've gone through the trial and errors and all the other stuff, and they found what works. So, because what's going to work, let's say, what's going to work on a Vega is going to be different than what's going to work, let's say, on a Monza. They have two completely different profiles to the front of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all about how that air is going to initially come up over the front of the hood and how much boundary layer it's going to have over the hump. Yeah. How the rake of the windshield is going to affect how much cowl low pressure you have.
Yeah, bro, that's one of those things where it's monkey see, monkey do. Look at what the fastest car is using your body style or working with, and copy what they have. Alan Shildroth wants to know, what is a good Ford-based aftermarket distributor? An aftermarket distributor would use like a door sparker.
Well, like an aftermarket. I mean,
I can't think of any aftermarket distributor.
For the Ford stuff, I've always used the ready to run drop-in MSD ones. 2 wires, hook it up, plug it in your coil, and you're running.
But what's wrong with the factory door spark?
Right. Or a factory just single point, you know.
There's so many different ways to skin that cat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go crazy trying to, look for something unique. Let's see. Josh Homan says, I don't think you can take mileage off a car by driving it backwards. On the old speedometers, you could.
Yeah.
That was one of the things used car dealers used to do. Was they would take a drill. They'd set up a drill
And just turn it
and
on.
run it backwards. Well, Maniac, do you have any videos comparing a 904 and a 727? I do not. I do not have any videos comparing those two. I mean, they're completely different transmissions, but they operate off of exactly the same principles.
Yeah, now to take miles off, you need an expensive computer software. It doesn't need to be that expensive. You could do that. There's some freebie stuff out there that you can do it with now. So
Jonathan Clark, using a 3-stone hone tool, how long would it take to overboard a 10,000s? Okay, so I'm embarrassed to say that I've done this, and it's not something you want to do. It's not something you're supposed to do. This is back when actually somebody mentioned Logano before, and that was one of the problems we had. We killed a bunch of pistons, and the only piston that we had left, like we killed a bunch of pistons, and we had, like, so let's say we killed 4 of them. I don't remember exactly. And we had 3 of them that were the standard size 4.250, and we had one that was 4.260. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It was 20 over. It was 4.270. So using a 3-stone hone and many stones over the course of an evening, I honed a cylinder large enough to fit that piston. I remember I was a kid. I was in my 20s doing this, right? And I remember wrapping a rag around the drill because the thing was so hot you couldn't really fucking hold it anymore. And just forever, just going like this.
it's like how many licks to take the center of a Tootsie Pop. Yeah.
But I did it. Yeah, I did it.
You can.
Jimmy Luce, there is a video by YouTuber Yoshimoshi who shows a side-by-side comparison of the internals of the 904 versus the 727. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'm very glad you put that up there. So yeah, anybody's curious about that, Yoshimoshi, I will have to check that out.
No, what's this here? They call me nobody. 727 to always shift in the second while doing a burnout. Failure to do this can explode the transmission. Just ask Uncle Tony.
Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? You can let off in first, but you can't give it gas again in first because like people will like pedal. Like at the end of the burnout, if you do a burnout, let's say you got a tall tire right in a short gear, or a tall tire and a tall gear, and you'll do a burnout in first gear. What'll happen is people will let off the gas to stop the burnout, but give it gas like instantly to kind of pull out of it, and at that point it'll flip the spring. So you can let off the throttle in first gear,
just
don't touch it again. Don't touch the gas again for a couple of seconds. Let everything settle down before you actually give it gas to pull forward.
And if you get the motor to do it, just flip it in second.
But the best practice is always a lot of people are, you can never start a burnout in first gear with a Mopar. Bullshit. There's no reason to stress anything and start your burnouts in second gear. Start them in first gear, and as soon as the tires are moving, click it up into second. Mm-hmm. And then you can do whatever you want after that.
This one here, I'll take this one here. Sure Johnson. Working on a 2000 Ford Ranger 3-liter has jump time. My friend's saying the engine is blown, but it's popping through the intake and it spins over real nice. It's popping through the intake because all the valves are bent.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 3-liter. So you just you take the heads off and the front cover off. You put a new timing gear on it, and you send in the heads to get the bent valves all replaced and new gaskets, and boom, there's another 200,000 miles on your 3-liter.
There you go.
And if he doesn't believe me, just drop the whole truck off at my house. Forget about it. You ever seen it? And don't worry about it anymore.
Mark Survey didn't stock or super stocks for 904s, but with 727 innards or vice versa. Vice versa. They use 727 cases with 904 internals, and they were expensive, very, very expensive. And then Fubar just put up a link to our merch and Dr. Art's merch. So yes, our typical used old merch, like we haven't done anything new lately, but we have stuff. So if you want to represent UTG, we got our hats, we got our shirts, and all the other stuff, and Fubar just put up a link there. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Art has his new Big Richard shirt. There you go. Turn around. In his store now. Get one. All the cool kids have one now.
Yes, and they all have hats too. So, and Christmas is coming fast.
Yes, and everybody needs a Big Richard for Christmas.
That's right.
Thank you, Fubar.
So, and your mom needs a Big Richard for Christmas. So go ahead and tell your dad to get your mother a Big Richard for Christmas.
Willie Webb, 2W1, have a small hole at the upstream O2 sensor. P0420 code culprit.
Well, P420 is for catalyst efficiency.
It's efficiency below threshold. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got a hole in your cat, or if you got an air leak before that sensor after the cat, you're going to get a erroneous reading.
Actually, if you got a hole before the cat, you're overheating the cat because you're letting air in. You're letting more air in than is supposed to be let in. Some air is metered into the catalytic converter to help that combustion process, because that's the whole purpose of the catalytic converter, is to get the hard to burn stuff that comes through the engine and actually burn it. And if you've got an exhaust leak that's pulling air right through, extra air through the cat, there's a good chance you'll melt the thing.
Or it'll get super hot and your feet will get real warm, and yeah.
Barrows, what's happening, man?
What's happening, Kim? How you doing, bud?
And it is bigger than Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Anderson, what's the second spin-on filter for 544? I have no idea, bro. No idea.
It's probably just a backup for the main filter, or it could be the main filter, and I have no idea.
No idea.
But change it.
Okay, Vincenzo. I have a 68 Barracuda notchback that I put a 76 360 rebuild in. I had a slight motor vibration, and after watching you and Dead Dodge, I'm wondering if I used the wrong flex plate. Does it matter? No, flex plate is the same, but the weighting on the converter is different.
Yes.
So, yeah, you have more than just a slight vibration.
If you use your 318 converter and a 360, that's where your problem is.
Yep.
You need a matched 360 converter for your 360 motor, sir.
Or you could buy the weights. Just you could buy the so there's I don't remember which manufacturer makes it. It might be Mancini Racing. Contact John Cope. He might have some. But they make a weight kit. So, and the weight kit comes with weights, right? And it'll come with a map, right? A diagram on where to put the weights, and just weld the weights on it and call it a day. Scoop, feel free not to read my posts. I tend to say random stuff. Dude, I make a living just saying random stuff. You have no idea how random this is.
Anthony Perna, Tony was building a 1978 Mustang in the 70s Pro Street style. Be period correct. I want to do side pipes, white tires. or show bar stuff like that. If you want to be seen in this '78 Mustang, go ahead.
Oh, don't knock them, man. Did you see this old white Cobra, the '76 Cobra on Middle Tennessee, right off of Church Street?
No,
There's used car lots. So if you're coming up Church
Really?
Street, turn to Middle Tennessee.
it's on the lot.
It's on the lot. It's pristine. I stopped and looked at it yesterday. It's pristine. It looks like it just came out of a wrapper.
Oh, okay.
It's a cute little car.
I had a couple buddies who loved those. One buddy Rick, he had all tunnel rammed and big tires and stuff like that. My other buddy had like some 7,000 RPM small block and everything. And
But yeah, man. I mean, I don't see why not. The
Yeah.
78 Mustang. Yeah, the 70s Pro Street stuff.
Mhm.
It would work absolutely. The thing is, the Pro Street didn't have. If you're talking about Pro Street, they didn't do side pipes and stuff like that.
That was more street freak.
That was more street freak. Like side pipes by 1978, 1980, side pipes were like done. Nobody was doing that. Side pipes were like more of a 1972, 73, 4, 5, 6 fad, and then they went away.
Here we go. Flywheel Fab got a 72 340 Demon, got a vacuum issue. If the line in the air cleaner is open, the brakes are real stiff. If I block it off, they're real sensitive. Any suggestions?
Huh. If the line in the air cleaner is open,
That's weird because there should be a manifold vacuum.
yeah, you have routing issues, man.
You should do one big fat one going from the manifold to that booster.
Yeah, you should have a dedicated line to the booster.
And
Nothing
like I
else
said,
should interfere
dedicated,
with it.
not teed off of 6 different things. Yeah. And it should be, to the manifold and not to the air filter. And not through a vacuum switch on the air filter or something. No, you should never have that big of a hose going to the air filter from the booster. Something's wrong.
Anthony Perna saying, thanks, I thought it was too new for that look. No, it's not too. If you're talking about Pro Street, no, it's not too new for Pro Street because that Pro Street was a thing in the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s, where they were trying to make street cars look like pro stock cars, right? That was
Big tires tucked in.
right. Snorkel scoops and all of that.
Mm.
But yeah, you're thinking more street freak. Let's see. Jacob just bought a 72 Mustang. Runs well, but occasionally stalls while idling and in reverse. Hopefully the carb just has to be tuned. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
What should I look for in a mechanic that works on older cars? Age.
Some grizzly old guy.
Yes. You
that's-
want somebody that looks like us.
Yeah, some grizzly old guy, and you bring him
Yes.
steaks or cigarettes or whiskey.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't want money. He doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah. You could judge the quality of an older mechanic by how difficult he has, difficulty in standing up straight. If he's hunched over or he walks like with a limp or anything
Or
like
like
that.
listing to one side.
Listing to one side.
That's the guy.
That is the guy who you want to work on a Mustang.
Mm-hmm. And say, "Good evening, sir. I heard you're the man. Here's some money and some steak and some scotch, please."
Yeah, now that's not saying that younger guys can't work on it, but younger guys are far more likely to throw the parts cannon at it. Where
That old guy, he's going to get in there and clean stuff and turn
Right.
screws and get it all dialed in and send you down the road and go, get out of here.
or he's seen it 100 times before and he's diagnosed it as you pulled up his parking. Because I used to do it all the time.
Oh, he's here for this, yeah.
You pulling up my driveway. Oh, I already know what's wrong with your car.
He got distracted by a Hardee's commercial. Well, Hardee's is paying the bills tonight, apparently. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gabriel, Tony and Art, what altitude is a jet change necessary from sea level? Question marking or ignition timing.
From a driver's standpoint, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. What's my idea? Factory cars with factory jetting never really needed. You didn't have to pull over on the side of the road and swap jets because you were climbing up Mount Washington. They were calibrated to work at all of the different levels and so, which is one of the problems. Not a problem, but when you're seeking performance from a car, one of the things you have to overcome are all of the compromises that the factory calibrated into the system to make it so flexible.
Everybody could drive the car.
So everybody could drive the car all the time, everywhere, under all circumstances. So because of that, they left a lot of power on the table, and that's one of the fine points of hot rodding is to eliminate the flexibility and make it only do the one thing you want it to do.
Make it do one thing really good.
Right.
There's some kind of critter here wanting to eat us.
Oh.
I don't know where it is now.
There's critters everywhere. But like I said, for a driver, no. For a race car, I mean, I would say over 2,500. Under, I would say from
you change elevation 2,000 feet from your home camp.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the DA is going to, on any given day can go up and down radically depending on the weather. So, I mean, if you're a Nebraska racer going to race in Denver next weekend, get to Denver, do some laps, do some testing, change your jets, and then mark it down and change your jets. And then when you go home, put them back.
Well, you have places like Atco where Atco was sea level, but because it was in the Pine Barrens, it was like mine shaft there. It was like 10,000 feet below sea level.
Yeah, because it was just trees, it was air.
Yeah. Yes, friends, we have a dying smoke alarm. I fired up a slag hammer before and it set off the alarm, and now the alarm is dying.
From the amount of fumes that's taken from slag hammer, yeah. How'd it run? Just fired right up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was actually going to suggest, before I was going to text you yesterday, in fact, and then I saw the forecast. Okay. I was going to suggest that you take it over to the mall party. Because it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. It's turnkey.
Where? Oh, is that Bowling Green?
Bowling Green.
Oh, okay. They had that LS Fest this week. Yeah.
I was going to say, take Sledgehammer.
Take
Sledgehammer around with it. I'll go make some runs, but it doesn't look like.
Doesn't look like that's going to happen.
No.
And if you're in Bowling Green, it's going to rain. That's a given for me. Fuck, every time I go 120 miles close to that place, it starts raining.
Zero Sledgehammer, yes.
Yeah.
Rookie Mechanic, 1969. 600 Elder Rock. Yes, the old rock. Elderbrock. Okay, from bracket racing, stock 350 V8 small can shift. Absolutely.
Yep.
Bracket racing. You just said it all right there. Bracket racing. Bracket racing doesn't really care about maximum speed, maximum performance. It cares about consistency. And honestly, nothing is more consistent than a 600 Elderbrock. That's it. It's just done. So yes, it's actually the perfect carburetor for bracket racing.
Rich B1. I want to make a song about Sledgehammer set to Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Rich, that's awesome, but I would really rather have my toes amputated than be associated with anything by Peter Gabriel. So, and I mean all my toes, to be honest with you.
They're still talking about you got them on this Mustang 2 kick, and they're going back and forth about it.
Because they're cool cars. They're cool cars.
Oh, they're freaking Pintos.
They're not Pintos exactly. They're a little different. They were different frames.
The sheet metal's different than a Pinto, yes.
No,
and then if they
the front end is completely different.
yeah.
You know, installing a Pinto front end. It's like a Mustang 2.
Mustang 2 front end.
Pinto rack and pinion.
Right.
That was the hot setup. That was
Yeah.
like if you were rolling back in
Rolling,
the day,
you had the Pinto rack.
Pinto rack and
yeah.
pinion.
But I don't know. I've ridden in some that guys have, done right and set up right, and it was like, okay, this car's okay, but for the most part, I don't know. It's one of those, weird Ford guy sacrilege things. I just, I lived through them. They weren't cool then, so. Found an old friend today, my half-inch snap-on ratchet. Had it for 30 years, thought it was gone forever. Made my day. Oh, it's nice when you clean up the shop and you find tools. You're like, oh, yes, that's where this has been for 6 years. Under this rag right next to the fucking...
The Pinto was a fun driver. Mexican Spec saying anything Farrah Fawcett drove was cool.
Mhm.
She put the Mustang 2 on the map.
Yep. And when that's all you had to choose from, I suppose it wasn't so bad.
Kate Jackson was I think better
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
She didn't have the posters though.
No.
Mm.
It's one of those Ginger Marianne things.
Yeah.
Marianne was,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Zero saying could set slag hammer to black flag 6-pack. Ah, okay, there's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Cart 70, what kind of grease should I put in a turn signal switch for a 70 Duster?
Just some white lithium.
Yeah, white lithium. Yeah, Jacqueline Smith, yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, we're gonna get in a fight with some people in here.
About what?
Well, Anthony Perna, he's like, either love a Mustang 2 or hate it. To be honest, I think it drives better than my 65 did.
Well, the Mustang 2s are known for as an exceptionally good front end, which is why, like, for the last 50 years, it's been the go-to for people building cars is the Mustang 2. And I mean, all the original Mustang 2s are long gone. Now the aftermarket makes them, right?
Right.
But it's known. The car's handled and they were maneuverable and just perfect. They really they did their homework on that one. So yeah, it's going to drive a lot better than a 65. Ultimate Massive, what are your thoughts on the newer Triumph Bonneville's 2000 plus models? Dude, they lose me at drive-by-wire. So I'm all on them, right? I'm all good with them, right? I love them until you get to the later years. I don't even know what year they switched, but you lose me at drive-by-wire, right? Throttle-by-wire. So
they have an electronic throttle?
Yeah.
Why? It's that far.
I was at the dealership, okay? We'll see Impulse Sport. So I was at Sloan's,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And they have so I love thumpers, little one-cylinder bikes, right? So Triumph has these two bikes that they started bringing into this country. They're both 400 thumpers. One of them is called the Sport, and the other one is a Scrambler, like a dual sport type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap. It was like $5,500. And I was like, I came. Literally, I'm sitting on the bike, and I turned around, I looked at the tag, and I was like, okay, it's going to cost me like $6,200 out the door. I need this bike. I'm just going to buy this bike, and I'm going to ride it home.
Yeah.
And then I noticed it didn't have a throttle cable. Done. I'm out. You lost me. I came that close. And if I hadn't have noticed that there was no throttle cable, I would have brought that bike home.
Yeah, and drove it for a couple weeks and then went, what the fuck? Yeah.
I'm just no. You lose me at throttle by wire. Done. Russ Peter, my preference would be a 74 Capri over a Mustang. Yeah, well, the Capri was a German car
Yeah.
then. And they were very cool. Very cool. Ultimate Master, to be fair to Triumph, their fueling is top notch. On the throttle by wire bikes, much better than other examples. No, you don't understand. I want a cable. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what the handicaps are. I just do not care. It could get the throttle by wire could get 800 miles to the gallon and go 4,000 miles an hour, right? And grant me eternal youth, right? I don't want it. Okay, I don't want it. They could have paid me the $6,000 to take the bike home, and I would have put it on my lawn with a for sale sign on it. I just no. I draw the line. No. It had Farfig Nougat. Mexican Spectoni, you almost love the steering by wire on the Cybertruck. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Russ Peter, if you can get past the ugly factor, the Mercure XR4 TR302 is a direct bolt-in swap. Yeah, but the ugly factor is strong, man.
It is strong with that one. With the three rear wings and the googly headlights and
The Capri was beautiful. Like the mid 70s Capris were just beautiful cars.
Even when they had an ugly gold brown color on them, which
most of them were. A lot of them did. And when there were giant bumpers on them, the bumper was as big as the rest of the car.
Oh yeah, the 5 mile an hour crash bumpers that ruined them.
But there was still a slick looking car. Rob's Classic, I went to an older Subaru because they didn't like the drive-by-wire. It doesn't feel as connected somehow. I know. Zero is saying, Wired Magazine, Jeep Liberty hack, search it. It was possible to control everything. I know. Mm-hmm. Franz H is saying the best part about the Mercure is that you don't have to look at it while you drive it. Dude, the parts of it that you can see through the windshield are going to be ugly.
Look out the back, the rearview mirror. You're like, what? Why is there a bug on the rear window?
$69 Dodge Charger. Just rebuilt stock suspension on a 69 Charger. Drives better than I expected. No need for aftermarket. I know. People definitely underestimate how nicely those cars went down the road. Because most of the times you drive them after they've got half a century under their belt and everything's all played out, the bushings, and when everything is fresh and tight and it's aligned properly, those cars run really, really good.
And then you put modern tires on them instead of the bias plies.
Yeah, but they get a little mushy.
Okay.
With the radials. With the radials.
You don't like the radials?
I mean, I use them because it's what's available.
Right.
But the suspension is really designed for a bias tire.
Stiff sidewall bias plies. Yeah, that are that wide. Yeah.
No, they're them pretty wide. The G's and the H's.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sidewall does make a difference.
Okay. Chris McCoy, Tony, rebuilt the 68 440 engine. I thought we bring that down. Measured the cylinders and everything in spec, except for the very, very top of the cylinder. It's about 10th out over, just below the ridge.
I mean, the rule of thumb there is if you can catch a nail on it, it's too much, right? So here's the only liability with that. You end up with at higher for a performance deal. You end up with a thing called ring flutter. So what happens is the ring is going to ride up the cylinder bore, the standard bore cylinder, the standard bore, and it's going to get to the ridge. As it gets the ridge, you have to understand what the ridge is caused by. The ridge is caused by combustion gases getting behind the ring and pushing them out. Okay. That's why you have the ridge at the top and not at the bottom, because it changes direction in both top and bottom, but you only get the ridge at the top. That's when combustion gas is pushing out on the ring. But what happens is you'll get, remember the ring is springy. So the ring gets to the top of the board. Combustion gases push it out. It fills that, okay? But now when it comes back down, as it's coming back down, there's a taper that's going to throw the ring inward. And so the ring won't ride perfectly flat against the cylinder wall at higher RPM. It'll start to flutter. So that's the liability. Now, for a driver, okay, like something that, like minor hot rod,
Backyard rebuild,
right? Small cams, small headers, carburetor, right? That type of thing. Oh, just send it and don't think twice about it. But if you're actually trying to make power with it at higher RPM, then
if you're building a mud truck for pulling, yeah, you need the goose. Yeah.
Judge Fed 426, 92 Dodge Daytona IROC 2.2 turbo, 64,000 miles, been sitting in a garage for 10 years. Besides bad gas and battery, think it would be a good to fire up? The belts look good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should be okay. Should we hit the?
Yeah. That's an interesting car. I like those cars.
Wait. I saw something here.
Did we miss by something?
Oh, Ross Peter saying, I vaguely remember some top fuel teams using an Opel GT looking body in the mid 70s. There was the Opel GT was never legal in funny car or alcohol funny car, but it was legal in gas, right? So, and gas was incorporated into competition eliminator in 1972 or 1973. So that was actually a pretty popular and very potent combination. They used to put blown 331 and blown 354 Hemis in those Opel GTs. They were a wild show. Those things were great, but they were on gas. They're probably one of the most entertaining gas cars you'll ever see. If you ever get a chance, there was one called Frank and Linda Mazzi ran a car called the Lord of Hellfire, I think it was called. What a vicious, crazy little car that thing was. It was a 331 Chrysler that they buzz this thing to like 10 grand like on the burnouts, right? Those are great. Look up a gas supercharged or a double A gas supercharged Opel GT and try to find some videos of those things. They were freaking awesome. Anthony Perna does gas porting cause rings to wear faster. Also, is it worth it with modern pistons? No, modern pistons with modern rings, no. But if you're dealing with a cast ring piston, yes. If you're dealing with a street engine, don't even bother because those holes fill faster than you could possibly imagine. Like 500 miles down the road, okay, they're filled with carbon.
Yeah, the only people that use them really anymore are just guys that run a lot of nitrous, aren't they? To keep that ring seated.
Does anybody use gas ported pistons anymore?
Yeah, I remember seeing some stuff with the guys still run strictly nitrous cars to keep that top ring
possibly
seated.
I haven't seen that, but it's possible.
But so far as you're just daily driver hot rod.
That was a race car modification. Zero saying, how did they race the Ford Anglia? How do you mean, Zero? Because they ran in those same classes. The Opals were crazier than the Opals had a wider wheelbase, so they were more stable. Like they were you could drive them, where the Anglias
We're so narrow.
narrow little cars, and once they would get out of the groove, like you couldn't really drive them back. So Anglias were good for like aborted runs, and the Opals were good for like this down the track. So you're saying seeing one car at a car show look nervous just idling by. Yeah. Did I know Fred Hurst? Oh, Fred Hurst was another one. No, I didn't know him. But yeah, Fred Hurst was another one who ran an Opel Gasser. Yes, Rob's Classics. I know. It just started doing it like just now.
Yeah, right. Like before we started, and they're 20 feet high. We have no scissor lift, so it's just gonna make noise. We did close the door to the shop, so we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, the Fiat Topolinos. That was a popular fuel altered body. I wrenched on one for a couple of years up in Chicago. It was called the Chicago Fire. Was a Fiat bodied fuel altered. Mike Fazer, great guy, really great guy. Those were some good times. I broke so much of his stuff. How he didn't just shoot me. How he didn't like club me in my sleep, I don't know, okay? Because I broke everything this guy had, everything. And then I broke everything he had to replace it. And then I broke all the stuff he borrowed. It was a terrible, terrible period of time, right? It was like, but we had a lot of fun. Scoop is saying my 302 is my most fun engine. I've owned AMC, Mopar, Ford, and Chevy. They're great. My only Windsor experience, maybe is 3 years. I mean, I love those engines.
Chat's just going all over the world tonight, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of them it's like they're fixated on the smoke detector.
Who knew?
I don't even hear it. It shows you the microphone's working real good.
Yeah, if they could pick that up, because yeah, you could really actually barely hear it in here. So.
Scoop, my 454 SS was a boat anchor and it had 3,400 miles on it. You're talking about the pickup truck? I know. They were disappointing.
They detuned those so bad.
Yeah, I had a customer that had one. It had an accident, had a broken. Actually, I was talking about this just the other night. It broke the frame. They changed the bed and they did everything else, but it had a crack on the frame. They brought it to me to weld it up. And back in the day, I used to use oxyacetylene. So I welded the crack and then I welded a patch over it, just to double check it. And I fell over while I was doing it. I had my torch set on like I'm welding frame, okay? And as I fell back, I went like this to and the torch blew out everything between my.
Oh.
Yeah, it was horrible. But getting back to the truck, I remember driving the thing and I was like, "Ooh, SS 454, this has got to be fun." And it just went. Bah!
I know all the urban the urban cowboy hat wearing folks like, look at mine, I got my 454, and I'd walk up in one of my little V8 Rangers, and they'd be very mad. I could build you a 454 for that, sir, if you really wanted to go somewhere.
Scott Anderson, did they use the 366 big block in any production cars? No. The 366 is a tall deck motor. A lot of people don't realize that. No, it never put in a production car. It had 4-ring pistons, if I remember correctly, too.
Really?
The 366.
Like some industrial weird
It
shit?
was a truck motor.
Oh, okay. It wasn't the 366 for short buses, yeah.
Yeah, he's only seen it in dump trucks. Anyway, it's a 4-ring. It's a 4-ring piston, isn't it? What got hot in here?
Yeah.
The ultimate mass for saying it was a 454 with a 200 CFM TBI. Yeah, exactly.
Here, at least get the fan on this one.
Well, at least we're getting into heat weather soon.
Yes, we'll get the hurricane come through tonight and tomorrow and cool things down finally.
The Jeep is running like that in 90 degree.
Oh, I know, 90 and humid again, and it's tearing ass. Yeah. Wait
You
till
know
it gets
that's
to
going to run in the 60s?
Oh, it's going to be crazy.
I wish everybody could take a ride in that truck. I wish everybody, because am I?
No, it's
You can't imagine how much fun it is. I wish every one of you guys could come right now and take that thing.
Because it doesn't. When you drive it doesn't make sense.
No, it's ridiculously fast for what it is.
You're like, what's happening?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, whoa! And then you bang second, and it's even more. Whoa!
And it gets this extra curve of torque. Yeah.
Wow! It's just vomiting torque. It's just the most amazing thing. The numbers that show up on the drag strip do not match the seat of the pants feel of that truck. I just called out somebody. Let me see. Hang on. See if you responded. No, you didn't respond. No. See.
Mm-hmm.
I'll cover this
to protect the innocent. Yeah.
I'm going to cover this to protect the innocent, right? But I just sent that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, your phone works as good as mine. Let's
Yeah.
see. If everyone's wanting an iPhone 15, don't.
So I just sent that message to somebody. I don't know if you could see it. It just says you got to be able to destroy this thing, yeah. So he has a like a 500-inch 5-speed big block mopo with like every trick in the book. It's like totally maxed out. And I want to race him with my stock friggin' 4-liter Jeep in the worst way in Mexico. But I don't think he's going to respond. Anthony Perno would be porting the XJ and putting a header on it eventually. It has a header.
It has
it's born with a header.
Factory beautiful header.
Yeah, it's a beautiful header. But yes, over the winter I plan on porting it. The pistons are getting turned around, and you're laughing, man, but the pistons are getting turned around, and I'm porting it. Not crazy porting, but just to clean
Just
stuff
clean
up.
the casting up because I'm sure there's all kinds of
Right. And then the exhaust is getting heat wrapped. I can't do it without actually taking everything apart. You can't get in there. So yeah, but yeah, over the winter I have a lot of stuff I want to do to that thing.
Will the pistons turn around before a limited slip goes in?
I don't know. When a
Mhm.
limited slip turns up when it turns up. I see. I know a lot of people are anxious. Well, I want to see ETs. I want to see these. I'm fine with just creeping up on it and working on improving what's already there. Right. Eventually, it'll get a sugar, and when it does, it'll be mind blowing. But for right now, I'm content with just making these little incremental improvements. And I can tell you right now, the seat of the pants feel with the cold air, with the fresh air system. I'm going to say through 10 horsepower. I had to be.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, well, you put more fuel to it.
Yes.
And now it's got
right
air density to match.
Right. And it's we probably had a weak fuel pump in it the whole time.
Yes.
Because now it has that extra because before it would pull to around 5. Now it pulls past 5.
Yeah.
So you get that extra. You need because we needed that extra, just a little bit of RPM coming out of first and the second to get rid of that bond.
Did you power shift second, or did you granny shift it? Because it's a whole new animal.
I think a granny. Well, because I probably granny shifted it because I was watching the tack go past 5, and I'm like, oh well, it's past 5 finally.
Spitfire Mac, whatever happened to the dead Dodge Garage race slips? It was going to the track on Friday. It was going to the track on Friday, and I was going to tell Dr. Art to take it to the mole party over the weekend. But we have the hurricane coming up so
it's going to rain from
it's supposed to rain
tonight until Monday.
Yeah. So it's
because you know why?
Have to wait till next week.
You know why it's going to rain?
Why?
Because we plan to go to the racetrack.
Of course. Freiberger would have already thrown 100, and he's an asshat. Please.
And it still wouldn't run in real life if he touched it. Yeah, rain is good. We need rain. Everything's, but. No, because last year we tried to go to the racetrack with 10 weeks in a row.
10 weeks in a row. It rained.
And it finally cools down where I'm like, cool, I'll pull the Ranger out and see if I could pull a 6 out of the Ranger.
Rich, I envy your roll your own rolling game where you said, dude, I'm doing it since 10 years old. I've been rolling my own cigarettes for 52 years now. I'm pretty good at it. Jordan. I have a 62 Impala 4-door. I'm pushing 70 years old now. I'm actually paying a garage to do an LS swap. He keeps blowing me off. Any advice to light a fire under his ass? Dude, do it yourself. You're 70 years old. So you can't blow it out in a weekend anymore, right? Just pace yourself. Just go a little at a time, man, and get it done. Do it yourself.
And they're not any more tough than putting a small block Chevy in.
No, I mean everything is kits. Everything is like it's so plug and play.
Right, you could buy the whole mount kits and it'll go right to the factory mounts.
Yeah,
like give you all the bolts and stuff like that. And wiring an LS is easy. I'm sure you know how to tie your shoes, and you've wired up a lamp before, so it's the same principle.
So listen, man. I'm just a couple of years behind you, right? I know all about it. I know all the aches, all the pains. I know I got arthritis everywhere. My back is like a mystery thing. It's just you never know what's going to happen next with my friggin' back. I know my knees are shot, my ankles are shot, but you keep moving. You keep moving. Just fight through it, right? And that's the key to youth. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Zero, why an LS swap? There's a lot to be said for LSs, man. If the guy wants to put an LS in a Chevy,
let him.
let him. You know what I mean?
It's his car. Yeah, that's just his thing. And
you know, it wouldn't be my choice, but my choice isn't the end all be all. You know, we all have different reasons for doing the things that we do.
mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Important tool once you hit 60. Those 2 foot long
needle
needle
nose
nose.
pliers.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I automatically grab a magnet. I have one of long telescoping magnets.
Yeah, it's just Zing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I never thought about stuff like that. But now it's like you got to be prepared. You need the magnet. John Stidman, front brakes lock up on my 55 Dodge truck. It has a brake system from an 86 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. I have checked everything I can think of. I was thinking of replacing the proportioning valve. Check the hose from the body to the rear axle. That's usually what happens, right? Because it collapses internally, right? So check that hose, and it won't give you the. So you got drum brakes on the back. When that collapsed hose won't give you that same because you get the springs, you know, that'll return it on a drum. You don't have that on a disc. So when you get a clogged hose on a disc brake, it'll always be burning up the brakes. But when you have one on a drum brake, the gradual pressure from the springs will push past. But what happens is you're greatly reducing the amount of pressure going to the rears. So check that hose.
It's got to go somewhere. Yeah.
Check that hose. Uncle Dead. I'm not dead yet, bro. Oh, Jamie, Dead Dodge Garage. The best Mopar channel in all of YouTube. You guys even remotely forget about you Mopar channel. Best car channel. He puts me to shame. I can't make videos the way he does. The guy's amazing. Dead Dodge Garage.
Is he here?
He's here. I saw somebody call him Uncle Dead. Zero just put up a link to his channel.
Okay. Well, hi, Jamie.
What kind of tobacco? Bugler. No, Spitfire Mike, it's my smoke alarm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Jamie is here. Well, sir, he's been very busy with the videos.
Yeah.
I've done nothing because I was.
You got a little sidetracked with important things.
Yeah. I had grandchildren and was in bed for 3 days, so.
Mendito amplification. When I get down on the ground to find something that I dropped, usually I stay there taking off. I swear to God, I did that today. I didn't really fall asleep, okay? But I swear to God, I was working on the Barracuda, and the muffler, right? I needed to weld a bracket to hold the muffler up, the rearmost muffler. And I was in this comfortable position, and I was like,
You're like, what? I don't want to get up. Yeah.
I kicked off the welding of it, and I just went like this and laid there for about 5 minutes. It's just part of being older, getting older, man. It's normal. Jamie's congratulating you. He was dead for 3 days when we saw it. Yeah, Kathy got it really hard. And so far, I've beaten it, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, huge organ. Yeah, Impala has a straight 6. The LS drivetrain runs great and was a freebie. Also, I no longer have a garage or lift, so that's why he's got a shop to do it. So, yeah, makes sense.
Pick up a cheap eBay turbo kit, man, and throw a blower on that. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Brake stuff car. Rich 220 is the best car channel on here. I'm not familiar with them.
Mm-mm.
Want to treat Uncle Tony to some English rolling tobacco. Nick hit like a sledgehammer. These are actually they're pretty good. I've tried different imported tobaccos over the years, and I just always go back to these because I'm smoking for 50 some odd years, right? So so there's got to be something okay about these things because I see other people smoking and they get destroyed, right? They got emphysema and all this other shit, and I'm okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm as healthy as somebody who never smoked at all, but I'm doing pretty good for my age.
Oh, and if Jamie, if you're still here, did you ever put that van back together? You know what I'm talking about. Or you can just text me.
Ultimate massive not being fat is probably better than not smoking. I've lost 11 pounds. I was down on 189 the last time I checked. So I'd like to get down to like 110.
Just so you can figure skate, or what do you want to be 110 pounds?
I want to be able to fit through any opening that I can get the top of my head through.
Like a cat?
Yeah.
Okay. The van is finally back. Haven't popped the computer yet. Oh, okay.
Well, honestly, for me, the smoke. Okay, so I ain't worried about lung cancer at this stage of the game. Look, all the asbestos, all of the freaking nitromethane, all of this gasoline, and all of the shit, and I still haven't got cancer or anything yet. I think I'm going to be all right. But for me, here's the thing you understand. I'm autistic, right? So the combination of caffeine and nicotine has the same effect as Ritalin does, right? Without the negative side effects. I mean, they have their own negative side effects, but my whole personality is a finely tuned combination of caffeine, nicotine, and sugar. And if any of those balances are off, I'm off. I just can't produce. So we're not all wired the same.
Nope.
You, Jordan, I'm 70 and I still smoke. I can't breathe, but hey, whatever. Nitro fumes. Yes, many nitro fumes, which I kind of miss at times, and then I don't.
You don't miss the water in your eyes and everything else from it, or
I do miss that.
Yeah.
It was the only way I could ever describe it, right, is like that switch over from alcohol to nitro. Okay, so you're doing a warm up on the thing. I find that is the moment of perfect peace in Zen, if that makes any sense.
Oh, when the transition happens.
When the transition happens, okay, it's the perfect moment of Zen, right? It's like there is nothing else in the universe. That's zero.
Well,
zero.
because on the alcohol, you're like, yeah, it's okay. As soon as it switches to nitro, you're like, okay, she could get
now
we need to pay attention.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now I can hear this thing. I can feel it. It's absorbing all of my senses, right?
Right.
When I whack the throttle, the ground moves, right? It's like, yes, it's the moment of perfect peace and contentment. And that's where the addiction comes from. And once you become addicted to that, it's like any other addict. You'll just do shit. Whatever you got to do, you'll do it to get that next.
Well, yeah, you're in that bubble of nitro where the noise and the sound and the vibration and nothing else can
There's
penetrate.
nothing else. That's it.
I get it.
Hey, look what time it is.
Oh my god!
Tonight went fast.
Yeah, it did.
Tonight went really fast. What are they talking about? I don't even know. Nitro to alcohol, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no. So you start a nitro motor on alcohol. You warm it up on alcohol, and then when the motor's got heat in it, you switch over. You turn the fuel shut off on, and you switch over from the alcohol to the nitro. So that there's like this transition where it will go. It's just like it's all like gentle and pussy like on alcohol. And then you go over to nitro. And oh God, the most perfect moment that the universe has ever served to man is when that transition from alcohol to nitro happens. And I will go to my grave 1,000 times over knowing that is the universe's gift to man, and only a few people are lucky enough to, really experience it. Mark's away. Wouldn't it just explode if you tried to start it on nitro? It can. It has.
That's the problem. That's why you should.
They have. I watched the guy get killed. I don't remember what track this was. This is years ago. Trying to restart after a stall, and so you're supposed to back the motor down and get all the nitro out of the cylinders before you try to restart it. And this guy just hit the button again. When he hit the button, the cylinder head came off, and he was laying over his chest. And it just blew everything from
There was two of them.
There was confetti, like skin confetti falling all over the place. So yes, you can definitely get very hurt just trying to start it. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's it. Right. Let's wrap this thing up.
That's it, people.
That's it. Dr. Art at Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab, and he's got his new shirts. Yes. Go buy one of his shirts. Buy 2 of his shirts. Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. What do you have coming up that you want to talk about?
Nothing.
Good. I don't want to talk about anything either. I have nothing planned. I'm doing nothing interesting.
So if something comes on my channel, it's a freaking surprise for everybody.
I'm going to surprise myself. Next time I do a video, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to turn the camera on and whatever it is that I'm doing. That's how fast and loose I'm going to play this week. Since we can't go to the drag strip, I was really looking forward to getting to the track this weekend.
September is fast and loose. We may even,
the end of September, October is going to be. I'm going to make a serious effort to spend every weekend in October at the drag strip. This is.
If we can stay out of the rain this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have to put the Ranger in the 6s, and then you got to turn the juice up on Bottle Rocket, and then we see what we can do.
Are we going to do that this year?
Yes. Okay. It's like I said, but if we plan on it, there'll be more rain, so we just have to do it spur of the moment.
I'm not going to touch the car. I'm going to leave it exactly the way it is.
Oh, okay.
I just hope that it hooks, because if it hooks, if it doesn't spin, if it doesn't do the double wheelie and spin all the way through first, and black track halfway across the track,
you put a little bit more in their right rear, and
I think it'll eat your lunch.
It may.
We'll find out.
It just might, Rabbit. You never know.
So, guys, thank you all so much. Our awesome mods. Zero, Fubar, Mexican Spec, guys, thank you so much. Everybody contributed super chat. Thank you equally. Always appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. It helps keep the wheels turning. Everybody contributed just at your presence and your conversation. We're eternally grateful to you guys. You're the only reason we're able to do this and actually get paid for it. It's stupid. It's crazy we get paid to do this.
Right, because if we just sit around the shop and we're out of material in like 10 minutes and then we go our separate ways,
So guys, thank you so much. And I think that's it. I got nothing else to say.
You got to hit the button.
I'm going to hit the button. So that's it, guys. We're going away now. End stream. I hit this end stream, and then I hit end. Bye-bye.
Bye.